Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. 5 mysterious places in the Quran that still raise question. Marks the Quran as the holy book of Muslims contains many stories and instructions about life, history, and the universe. Among the verses, there are several mentions of places that are still a mystery to mankind. Scientists, archaeologists, and scholars continue to try to uncover the existence of these places. Here are 5 places in the Quran that are still a puzzle. First, Mount Judy, Al-Judi. In Surah Hud, verse 44, it is mentioned that the ark of Prophet Noah anchored on Mount Judy after the great flood. And it was said, "O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, rain, stand still." And the water was reduced, the command was completed, and the ark anchored on Mount Judy. However, until now, the exact location of Mount Judy has not been confirmed. Some researchers link it to the mountains in Turkey near the Iraqi and Syrian borders, while others are still debating the interpretation of the text and archaeological evidence. Mount Judy in the Quran, the mystery of the place where the ark of Prophet Noah anchored. One of the most epic stories in the Quran is the story of Prophet Noah and the great flood that hit the entire earth. In this story, Prophet Noah was ordered by Allah to make a large ship that then saved himself, his family, and all the creatures that were with him from the destruction caused by the great flood. After the water receded, the Quran mentions that the ship anchored at a place called Mount Judy. However, until now, the exact location of Mount Judy is still a mystery and a subject of research and debate among scientists and archaeologists. Mount Judy in the Quran. The mention of Mount Judy is found in Surah Hud, verse 44, and it was said, "O earth, swallow up your water, and O sky, rain, desist." Then the water receded, the command was fulfilled, and the ship came to rest on Mount Judy, and it was said, "Death to the wrongdoers." This verse confirms that after the floodwaters receded, Noah's ark landed on Mount Judy. However, the Quran does not provide specific details about the geographical location of this mountain, so scholars continue to try to identify the place in question. Location of Mount Judy. According to research, Mount Judy is often associated with the area around the Middle East, especially on the borders of Turkey, Iraq, and Syria. Here are some theories about the location of Mount Judy, Mount Ararat, Turkey. Some traditions state that Mount Judy is part of the Ararat Mountains in Turkey, although the name Ararat is more often associated with Jewish and Christian traditions. An area called Kudi Dağ, Mount Judy in southeastern Turkey, is often considered a prime candidate. This mountain is located near the city of Şırnak, Turkey, mountains in Mesopotamia. Some historians associate Mount Judy with the Mesopotamian region, which was the center of ancient civilization. They base this opinion on its geographical location near the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which are known to be the place where the first human civilizations developed. Other locations in the Middle East. There are also opinions that link Mount Judy with other locations in the Middle East, such as mountains in Iran or Armenia. However, strong archaeological evidence to support this claim has not been found. Archaeological evidence and discoveries. Efforts to find the remains of Noah's Ark have been carried out for years. One discovery that is often associated with this story is a ship-shaped structure near Mount Ararat, Turkey, known as Durupinar. However, scientists still disagree about whether this structure is really the remains of Noah's Ark or just a natural geological formation. Some researchers also point out that the Mount Judy area in Şırnak has historical evidence to support its claim as the location where Noah's Ark landed. For example, there is an oral tradition of the local community that states that Mount Judy is a sacred place. Unsolved Mystery. Despite many theories and studies, the exact location of Mount Judy remains a mystery to this day. Some factors that make the search difficult are the lack of concrete archaeological evidence, differing interpretations of religious texts, and the geographical challenges of the area. However, for Muslims, the focus of this story is not only on its physical location, but on the moral lessons contained within it. The story of Prophet Noah teaches the importance of patience, obedience to Allah, and Allah's protection for the believers. Conclusion. Mount Judy remains one of the mysteries in human history that is immortalized in the Koran. This location is not only a symbol of the end of the Great Flood story, but also a testament to the greatness of Allah and the truth of His revelation. Until this mystery is solved, the story of Mount Judy will continue to inspire humanity to reflect on the greatness of Allah and seek wisdom in sacred history. 2. The city of Iram, Iram. Surah Al-Fajr verses 6-8 mentions Iram, a city inhabited by the people of Ad. Have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the people of Ad, the people of Iram who had tall buildings? The city of Iram is described as a large city with tall and magnificent buildings. Until now, archaeologists continue to search for traces of this city. Some believe that this city may be buried under the Rub al-Khali desert in Arabia, but no definite evidence has been found. Here is a long text about the city of Iram, which is often mentioned in history and mythology, the city of Iram, the mystery of the lost city in history and mythology. The city of Iram, also known as Iram Zat al-Imad, Iram who has tall pillars, is a city that is told in the Quran precisely in Surah Al-Fajr, verses 6-8. The city is said to be the home of the Ad people, an ancient people renowned for their physical strength, magnificent architecture, and inordinate pride. However, the city is also a symbol of destruction due to arrogance and rebellion against God. Origins of the city of Iram. The city of Iram is associated with the Ad people, who are believed to have lived in the region between Yemen and Oman, specifically in the Rub al-Khali, empty quarter desert. The Ad people are believed to be the descendants of the prophet Hud, who was sent to remind them to return to the right path. However, this people rejected the call of the prophet Hud, even mocking and opposing the teachings he brought. According to the description of the Quran, Iram was a magnificent city with tall pillars, which illustrates the architectural greatness of its time. The city may have been a center of trade with an advanced culture, but it was also known for the arrogance of its inhabitants. The destruction of the city of Iram. The city of Iram became a symbol of destruction due to sin and arrogance. In the Quran, it is narrated that Allah destroyed the people of Ad with a fierce windstorm for 7 nights and 8 days in a row. The wind was so strong that it destroyed the city and sank it into the desert. This story of destruction serves as a reminder to mankind of the terrible consequences of rejecting the truth and disobeying God's commandments. Archaeological discoveries and modern speculation. Although the story of Iram is more often associated with myths and legends, several archaeological discoveries have provided clues to the existence of this city. In 1992, researchers led by Nicholas Clapp and Sir Ranulph Fiennes discovered an archaeological site known as Ubar in the Dhofar region of Oman. This site is referred to as the Atlantis of the Sands because of its possible connection to the city of Iram. This discovery revealed traces of an ancient city that may have once been a center of trade, complete with water channels, large walls, and magnificent architecture. However, the city appears to have collapsed due to a natural disaster, such as land subsidence or shifting sands. The symbolic meaning of the city of Iram. The city of Iram is not just a historical story, but also has deep symbolic meaning. This city symbolizes the fall of an arrogant civilization that forgets the values of truth. The story of Iram teaches humans to be humble, grateful for God's blessings, and to stay away from arrogance. In addition, the story of Iram reminds us of the transitory nature of the world and how power and splendor do not guarantee salvation if humans forget their God. Conclusion. The city of Iram, both as a historical fact and a legend, remains an interesting mystery to explore. In various traditions, this city is remembered as a warning about the importance of faith, piety, and humility. For Muslims, the story of Iram is part of the eternal signs of Allah's power. As technology and research develop, who knows? The mystery of this lost city will one day be fully revealed, bringing us closer to the history of human civilization lost in the ocean of time. 3. Ashabul Kahfi, the Cave of the Youth. The story of the young men who slept for centuries is mentioned in Surah Al-Kahfi verses 9 to 26. The location of this cave is still a mystery, although there are several locations that are claimed to be the cave of Ashabul Kahfi, such as in Jordan, Turkey, and even Spain. However, the Quran does not provide specific location details, so scholars continue to speculate. Firm faith, the story of Ashabul Kahfi. In life, humans are often faced with tests of faith. There is an eternal story written in the holy book of the Koran which teaches us about the steadfastness of faith. This story is the story of Ashabul Kahfi, a group of young men who risked everything to maintain their belief in Allah. Background: Ashabul Kahfi came from a city led by a cruel king. This king forced his people to worship idols and reject the existence of Allah. However, in the midst of this darkness, there were several young men who had a strong faith in Allah. They refused to submit to the king's orders and chose to maintain monotheism, even though they had to face the threat of punishment. Escape to the cave. Because of their refusal to the king's orders, these young men became fugitives. In desperation, they decided to escape to a cave outside the city. They prayed to Allah, asking for protection and guidance. The Quran states, "So we sealed their ears in the cave for several years." QS Al-Kahfi 11. Allah gave them protection by making them fall into a deep sleep for hundreds of years. This sleep is proof of Allah's power that is able to transcend the limits of time. The miracle of sleeping for 309 years. The young men slept for 309 years, as mentioned in the Quran, and they remained in their cave for 300 years and added 9 years. QS Al-Kahfi 25. While they were asleep, Allah kept their bodies from being damaged. Their positions were turned upside down by Allah so that their bodies remained intact, while sunlight entered the cave in a unique way, providing sufficient warmth. Waking up from sleep. When they finally woke up, the young men did not realize that they had been asleep for centuries. One of them went to the city to buy food. However, when he arrived in the city, he realized that everything had changed. The currency he brought was no longer valid, and the people of the city had become people who believed in Allah. Moral message. The story of the companions of the cave provides many valuable lessons. Firmness of faith. These young men showed that maintaining faith in Allah is more valuable than wealth, power, or even life. The power of Allah. Their sleep for 309 years is clear evidence of Allah's power over time and life. The wisdom of fighting in the path of Allah. When someone tries to get closer to Allah, Allah will provide a way out and help. Conclusion. The story of Ashabul Kahfi is a reminder that steadfastness of faith will always bear fruit, even when faced with difficult trials. May we all be able to emulate the courage and determination of these young men in facing life's challenges. Fourth, Madan and Shu Springs. Madan is the city mentioned in Surah Al-Araf verse 85 and was the residence of the Prophet Shu'aib. It is also stated that the Prophet Musa met the Prophet Shu'aib in this place after fleeing from Egypt. Although several locations in the Arabian Peninsula and Jordan are associated with Madan, the exact existence of the city has not been confirmed archaeologically. Madan and the Spring of Shu'aib, a story from the Quran. Madan is a region mentioned in the Quran, located in the northwestern part of the Arabian Peninsula near the Red Sea. The Madan people are known as a people who carry out trade and have abundant wealth. However, they were also known for their bad qualities, namely dishonesty in weights and measures and idolatry. It was in this context that Allah sent the Prophet Shu'aib to improve their morals and faith. Prophet Shu'aib, Allah's messenger to the Madians. Prophet Shu'aib was sent by Allah as a prophet to call on the Madian people to abandon idol worship and fraudulent practices in trade. In Surah Hud verses 84 to 87, the Prophet Shu'aib gently called on his people. And to the people of Madian, we sent their brother Shu'aib. He said, "O my people, worship Allah, there is no God worthy of worship for you but Him. Do not reduce the measure and the scale. Indeed, I see you in good condition, capable, and truly I fear the punishment of the day that covers you." However, like many other groups, Prophet Shuaib's call was not well received by the majority of the Midian population. They even mocked him and threatened to expel him and his followers. In Surah Al-A'raf, verse 88, the Madians challenged the Prophet Shuaib to prove the threat of Allah's punishment, Shuaib Springs, a historical place. In his preaching journey, one of the important places that is often associated with the Prophet Shuaib is a spring known as Mata Shuaib. This spring, believed to be in the area around Madian, which is currently thought to be in the Ma'an or Tabuk region, near the borders of Jordan and Saudi Arabia. This spring is a symbol of life and blessings given by God. According to the story, around this spring, Prophet Shuaib often stopped to preach and met people who were fetching water. The story of this spring is also related to the Prophet Moses, who fled Egypt after an incident with an Egyptian citizen. In Surah Al-Qasas, verses 23 to 28, Prophet Musa met two women who were having difficulty getting water from the spring because it was controlled by shepherds. Prophet Musa helped the two women, who then took them to their father, namely Prophet Shuaib, according to some interpretations. Moral message from the story of Madian and the Shuaib spring. The story of Madian and the Shuaib spring contains many valuable lessons for humanity, including honesty in trade. Dishonesty in measures and scales is a form of great injustice. This shows that integrity in economics is an important part of religion. Patience in dawah. Prophet Shuaib showed extraordinary patience, even though he faced great challenges from his people. Blessed life. The Shuaib spring is a symbol of the blessings given by Allah to His obedient servants. This story also reminds us that arrogance and rejection of the truth will only bring destruction, as happened to the Madians. They were finally destroyed by a large earthquake that rocked their region, as mentioned in Surah Hud verses 94 to 95. Conclusion. Madian and the Shuaib spring are an important part of the prophetic history told in the Quran. This story not only depicts the struggle of the prophets in spreading the truth, but also provides in-depth lessons about morality, faith, and man's relationship with God. By understanding this story, it is hoped that we can take lessons from it and apply it in everyday life. 5. The sinking place of Pharaoh and his troops. The story of the drowning of Pharaoh and his troops while chasing the Prophet Musa and the children of Israel in the Red Sea is mentioned in Surah Yunus verses 90 to 92. So we rescued the children of Israel across the sea. Then Pharaoh and his army followed them to oppress them, until when Pharaoh was almost drowning, he said, "I believe that there is no God but the God whom people believe in the children of Israel, and I am one of those who submitted." Until now, the exact location where the incident occurred is still being debated. Whether it is in the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aqaba, or elsewhere is still a matter of research. The sinking place of Pharaoh and his army, a story from the Koran and history. The story of Pharaoh and his army who drowned in the Red Sea is one of the most famous stories in human history. This event has a deep spiritual meaning, as well as being proof of God's power over all things. In the Quran, this story is told in detail in several surahs such as Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Yunus, and Surah Taha. Story background. Pharaoh was an Egyptian king who is famous for his cruelty. He claims to be God and rules with an iron fist. Pharaoh enslaved the children of Israel and treated them cruelly. Allah sent Prophet Musa and his brother, Prophet Harun to free the children of Israel from the oppression of Pharaoh. After various signs and miracles were shown by the Prophet Moses, including a staff that turned into a snake and a glowing hand, Pharaoh remained defiant. Finally, Allah ordered the Prophet Moses to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt to the Promised Land, journey to the Red Sea. On their way out of Egypt, Prophet Musa and the children of Israel faced great challenges. Pharaoh, who did not accept their departure, mobilized his troops to chase them. According to history, this journey took the Prophet Musa and his people to the shores of the Red Sea. This is where the crucial moment occurs. In front of them stretched the vast ocean, while behind them Pharaoh's army was getting closer. In this critical situation, Allah ordered the Prophet Musa to hit his staff into the sea. In the Quran, it is stated, "Then we revealed to Moses, 'Strike your staff into the sea.' So the sea parted, and each part was like a great mountain." QS Ash-Shu'ara 63. The miracle of the parted sea. The Red Sea split in two, creating a dry passage in the middle. The children of Israel quickly crossed the road to save themselves. When Pharaoh and his troops tried to catch up, Allah ordered the sea to return to normal. They drowned in it. Pharaoh, in the last moments of his life, tried to believe in Allah. Until when Pharaoh was about to drown, he said, "I believe that there is no God but the God in whom the children of Israel believe, and I am one of those who believe, those who submit." Qus Yunus 90. However, Pharaoh's regret came too late. Allah did not accept his repentance because he only believed when he saw the punishment before his eyes. Location of Pharaoh's sinking. Historians and archaeologists have tried to identify the location of the Pharaoh's sinking. Based on historical and geological analysis, many believe that this event occurred in the northern part of the Red Sea, near the Gulf of Suez or the Gulf of Aqaba. Underwater discoveries such as ancient chariot wheels and skeletal remains has strengthened the belief that this story really happened. One researcher, Ron Wyatt, claims to have found Pharaoh's chariot wheels at the bottom of the Red Sea. However, this research is still being debated among scientists. Lessons from this story. The story of the drowning of Pharaoh contains many valuable lessons. Arrogance brings destruction. Pharaoh is a symbol of human arrogance that rejects the truth. Allah shows that there is no power that can match His power, faith in Allah. Prophet Moses and the children of Israel showed that faith in Allah brings help, even in the most difficult circumstances. Late regret is useless. Pharaoh regretted when he was about to die, but Allah did not accept his repentance. This teaches that humans must immediately repent before it is too late. The place where Pharaoh and his army drowned in the Red Sea is a historical witness to the greatness of Allah. This event reminds us to always be humble, faithful, and surrender to Him. Pharaoh, with all his power, is unable to fight the destiny that has been determined by Allah. Hopefully, this story will be a reminder for all of us about the importance of faith and obedience to Allah. Conclusion. The mysteries of the Quran remind us of the greatness of Allah and the limitations of human knowledge. Although these places have not been discovered or identified with certainty, each investigation brings us closer to a better understanding of history, faith, and the universe. Until these mysteries